It's not that bad.
And we're live.
Hello!
Welcome. You're awake now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome to Bible Prophecy and Truth. And on Kick is down, so we're not on Kick today, but we're on Instagram and Rumble and on our websites and on Facebook and all of our other channels. So welcome, everyone.
We actually did have people come on Kick, though, right?
Oh, yeah. We've had a few watching now and then. So just started streaming to Kick not too long ago and got a few followers now. So that's building. But we're on part 5, studying the Bible Prophecy and Truth book, studying chapter 7 today, which is going to be very interesting. So, and then of course, some news as it relates to biblical prophecy and what's going on in the world. So welcome, everyone.
Yes, welcome back. So right now, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already on YouTube. Follow us on Rumble if you haven't already on Rumble, if that's where you're watching. We also are streaming live from the website. If you want to go to that, we have videos over there. Hey, Jody. That would be videos.prophecyandtruth.com, videos.prophecyandtruth.com. So share this show with everybody you know and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any great, fabulous uploads.
Yeah. So
don't forget.
Stop poking me. So the QR code on your screen will take you right to the video site. All of our other channels, my email and everything on the banner at the bottom. I'm going to remove those in a second, but I'll put them back up at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so Diane can see. And this is our discussion for today. Like I said, I'm going to remove that real quick. And boy. The QR code, so we have room. So chapter 7 on BibleProphecyandTruth.com is prophecy and the present times. So I don't know why that thing's hanging out here. I'll get rid of that. This is basically, we've been talking about the seals. We've been talking about modern nations in the Bible, prophecy that Jesus fulfilled, right? Some of the different things that we've already talked about are certainly like modern nations in the Bible, certainly prophecy in the present times, right? So this is kind of a continuation of that vein of thinking, because it's about the days that Jesus predicted when he would return, as we saw in Daniel 7 when we were talking about the modern nations. We're talking about the kings of Daniel 7, and it's those kings are going to be on the earth when Jesus returns. That's the same thing in Daniel 2 with the statue that Nebuchadnezzar's dream. He had a dream, he didn't know what it was. Long story short, he tried to get all of his magicians and soothsayers and sorcerers to tell him what the dream was and give him the interpretation. And of course, none of them could do it. They're all like, well, tell us the dream and we'll give you the interpretation. But he was like, I don't remember the dream. I want you to tell me what the dream was and then tell me what it meant. And
Hi, Yusuf.
Hey, Yusuf. Good to see you, brother. We were just talking about you.
We were talking about you.
Wondering how you were doing.
Yeah, so, we had prayer meeting right before Bible study, and we were talking about you.
Yeah, so yeah, all praise to the Most High King.
We're always praying for you, Yusuf.
Yeah. So where was I? So as it was,
he wanted them to tell him what the dream was.
Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar's dream was was that there was a statue, and of course, as the story goes, he couldn't get any of his people to tell him what the dream was, so he was going to have them all killed. Yeah, all of his magicians and sorcerers and nobody could tell him his dream,
Yeah.
so he was just going to wipe them all out. Well, Daniel was considered one of his special people that would be part of that group, and so he was warned. Well, they're going to come to take you, and he said, well, let me go and talk to the king. So he went before the king and said, God can give me your dream and the interpretation, and did so. God gave him the dream and the interpretation of it. And, it was a statue where he was the head of gold. And then there's successive kingdoms from Babylon to the return of Christ, which is this stone was cut out, without hands out of the mountain and smashed it on the feet. Remember in Daniel 7, Christ returns and puts down the governments of men and takes over the world. It's the day of the Lord. He comes and takes over and rules with a rod of iron. And so this is the same prophecy, the same prediction here of Christ returning, and kind of from a different angle, right? We've got Daniel 7 shows us the 4 nations that will exist. Actually, 13, because the fourth beast, remember, is 10 nations that are aligned together. It's a 10-nation union. But they all exist at the time of Christ's return. That's one view of it that we have in prophecy. And this is another view from a different angle that we have from prophecy, where it's the successive kingdoms. These don't all exist at the time Christ returns. Only the last final 5th section will exist at the time of Christ's return. So it's a different angle, same caveat that I'm going to say at the beginning. There are things that we know are absolute fact, right? We know the history of the ruling nations of the world as prophesied in Daniel 2, now that it's history. We know that. We know the empire that will rule the world at the time of Christ's return. It's the 5th section. It's the iron mingled with clay. So there's more things about this that we know for sure. Yes, that's
Genesis.
I'm not talking about Joseph's interpretation of the Pharaoh's dream. I'm talking about Daniel 2. Yusuf.
You said.
Sorry about that. I think you came in later. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know if I said Daniel 2. So we're talking about Daniel 2's prophecy here. But there's things about this one that are now history. So right, the 4 kings of Daniel 7, the fourth beast, right, is a 10-nation union that I don't think even exists yet. I think it's going to be created by the Antichrist. And so, but the other 3 kings or nations almost certainly exist now, and that's what we looked at as what they are most likely are. But this is now history, because we can see the 5 successive kingdoms, and we see it again. So I'm not going to read through the whole prophecy in Daniel 2, but I certainly encourage you to, right? This is, excuse me, this live stream is not to tell you what the Bible says, but it's to encourage you to read and study. And I'm just going to show you where the Bible says certain things. And my hope is that you'll study it for yourself and see for yourself, because if I tell you, you might or might not believe it, but if you read it from the Word of God and you understand it yourself, then that brings faith, that brings true belief. So believing the Bible. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to study it for yourself. Now, one thing that a lot of people will argue about, and in fact, I'm certain I would be willing to bet that at least one person that's listening to this already has said, no, that's not true, because I know what people teach about this. In fact, I've even read books. Believe me, I've read books about this, how this is a parallel prophecy to Daniel 7. And I'm here to tell you that that is absolute nonsense. The books don't make sense. It does not make sense that it's a good theory. And I'm going to tell you why right now, because there are 5 sections to the statue in Daniel 2. There's only 4 beasts in Daniel 7. Now, I know people will tell you that this 5th section is actually part of the 4th section. And so they say there's only 4 real sections. But if you read Daniel 2 and you pay attention to the words, it actually breaks off the 5th section just like it does all of the other previous ones. There's no difference in the verbiage. It's a different physical section of the statue. And so that's the first reason. The second is, if we continue to read Daniel 7, verse 11, I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horde spake, and beheld till the beast was slain, his body destroyed, given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season at a time. So the 4th beast, the 10-nation union that the Antichrist makes or creates, is destroyed when Christ returns. But the other 3 beasts, the lion, the bear, and the leopard, their lives remain. They're not destroyed. Their lives, their dominion's taken away, but their lives are prolonged for a season at a time. Their lives basically go into the 1,000-year reign, the day of the Lord. Those nations, the lion, the bear, and the leopard, won't be destroyed. Only the 10-horned union, which, as you know, I absolutely believe that will be 10 Islamic nations that give their allegiance to the Mahdi, as the Antichrist will call himself. And so that will be destroyed when Christ returns. But the other 3 live on. Now, if this was a parallel prophecy to Daniel 2, which we now know for absolute certainty that it was Babylon, Media, Persia, Greek, and Roman are the first 4 sections of that statue, because they're now history. Well, if this were true, then all those kingdoms would still have to exist, which they're history now. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And their lives are not going to be, prolonged into the time of the 1,000-year reign of Christ. And then the fact that there's a 5th section, that 5th section does still live today. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But that's the second thing. And then, the third is we see that it's after Babylon, right? There's a 3rd kingdom which shall rule over the earth. There's successive kingdoms. We know for certain that they're consecutive successive kingdoms that differ from the ones in Daniel 7. And then lastly, we see that the 4 beasts of Daniel 7 become one beast, the united government of the Antichrist in Revelation 13. So there's no way that this can match. They're not parallel prophecies. They're just 2 separate prophecies that show us the return of Christ from 2 completely different viewpoints. And that's all it is. They end at the same place, just like the seals, trumpets, and vials of Revelation all end at the return of Christ. We have to recognize that all prophecy of the end time is literally about the return of Jesus Christ and his rule and reign and taking over of the world, putting down the governments of men, the kingdoms of men will be put aside, and Jesus will rule finally. And that's what everything is about. So that's why we have in Daniel 7, we have the return of Christ as the end of that prophecy. The return of Christ is the end of this prophecy in Daniel 2. When the stone smashes the statue and breaks it into pieces, right? It takes over the world. So it's that being said, let's look at what this actually is, because the Babylon Empire, the Media Persian Empire, I've got these listed. Babylon ruled until the Medes and the Persians conquered Babylon in 539 BC. We know when this happened. 331 BC is when the Medes and the Persians were destroyed and taken over by Alexander the Great, and it began the Greek Empire. And then the Greek Empire lasted until 197 BC, when the Romans defeated Alexander the Great, broke the Greek Empire up into 4 pieces, and then the Roman Empire lasted about 500 years until it decayed from within. It was overrun by barbarians around 300 AD. And then, Emperor Constantine kind of glued Rome back together by creating the Catholic Church and creating this religion for all of the disparate religions of the Roman Empire that they could all call their own. And so he included many different parts of different religions when he created the Catholic Church in order to make it easier for all of the disparate religions to kind of move into this new religion. And I talk about that incidentally, if you're interested, on BibleProphecyandTruth.com under the notes menu, the origin of the Catholic Church. And you might find it very, very interesting to know that, he mixed a lot of religions, the cult of Isis, the cult of Diana. These were very popular religions in the Roman Empire at the time, Mithraism. The Roman emperors were considered deities at the time too, and it was a henotheistic religion. And there's just a lot. You can see how Constantine really took all of those religions, there are many, many more than I talk about there, and glued Rome back together with it, which it then became the Holy Roman Empire of the German nation. Originally is what it was, the Holy Roman Empire of the German nation, which unified Europe under the Roman Catholic Church. And Charlemagne was crowned emperor by the reigning Pope at the time. And that's really, they even have a Charlemagne prize still today, in case you didn't know that. There's still a prize given out to the one who does the most for the reunification of Europe. They give out a Charlemagne prize for that in Europe. And so this is actually the fifth section of the statue, because you remember there's four, there's Rome, but then there's a fifth section. It's the iron mingled with clay. And it's the Holy Roman / Islamic Ottoman Empire. It was around 800 AD that Charlemagne was crowned, but the church actually was started in 325 AD. So there's that period of time of the growth of the church, of the Catholic Church, where it became very powerful and basically was ruling Europe around the time that Islam came into being. When Muhammad created Islam, it was in the 7th century, around 625 or 610, I think, or so. I don't remember what that date is exactly, but it was in the 7th century that Muhammad lived, and he created the Islamic religion. And this is what went back and forth, where they were constantly battling for borders during the millennia, all the way up. The Ottoman Empire was what was in power in the early 1900s, and actually existed until 1925, I believe. And but so what we've got is that fifth section of the statue has been literally what's been ruling that part of the world for the last couple millennia, literally. The Holy Roman / Islamic Ottoman empires have been co-ruling the same general area as the Roman Empire around the Mediterranean Sea and the Middle East and Northern Africa and Europe. That whole area is now ruled by the same entities under different names now. The Holy Roman Empire is now the EU. And it still is pretty much ruled by Catholicism, by the church. The Islamic Empire, which it wasn't always the Ottoman Empire, it was just at its peak in the latest part of the Islamic Empire. It was the Ottomans and from Turkey, but it's always the Ottoman Empire, and that is now the Arab League. And you can see from these maps, that the European Union is pretty much the same area as the Holy Roman Empire. The Islamic Empire is the same area as now what's called the Arab League. And so it's the same two entities that have existed for more than a millennia now. And they will be in power. What does this prophecy tell us, right? That prophecy tells us that this section, the fifth section, the iron mingled with clay, the Holy Roman / Islamic empires, will be what's in power when Christ returns.
Mm-hmm.
So we know this. This is not a guess. This is not speculative at all. It will be the Holy Roman, or the EU, and the Islamic Ottoman Empire, the Arab League, the EU and the Arab League will be what's ruling. And really, when you think about it, it's really Islam and Catholicism is what those two entities represent. Islam and Catholicism will be what comes together when the Antichrist rules. It will be remember, if you've been with us before and we've talked about this, it'll be a submission of Catholicism to Islam. It won't be a joining or a merger. It'll be a submission of Catholicism to Islam. That's the thing about interfaithism, this whole thing that the Catholic Church is preaching, and all of these Protestant, Baptist, whatever, all the churches of today are following the Catholic Church in this nonsense that all religions worship the same God. It's all the tool of Satan. It's all lying wonders of Satan that are deceiving the world. And we have to remember that there is no way that all religions worship the same God. If you understand the Bible at all, that it's through Jesus Christ is the only way. There is no other name given among men under heaven whereby we must be saved other than Jesus Christ. And the Muslims do not believe in Jesus, even though they tell you they believe in Jesus, as we've talked about a lot in this live stream. They believe in a Jesus of their own making, not the Jesus of the Bible. And none of the other religions believe in Jesus as God himself, as we as true Christians know that God manifested himself in the flesh by being born into his own creation in Jesus Christ. And we understand that truth from the Word of God, the record that God gave us. And that's one thing, I've got another article, if you're interested, under my notes menu as well, on can I be saved if I'm a Jew or a Muslim? Under that. And there's some scriptures here that it just says it point blank. If you don't believe the record that God gave, you call God a liar. If you don't believe the record God gave, you make him a liar. And if you deny the Son, you don't have the Father. So Jews that don't believe in Jesus, the Jews that are mired in Judaism, Pharisee 2.0, which is all it is today, they do not have the Father, right? Jews that don't believe in Jesus do not have the Father. You have to understand that. Neither do Muslims, Buddhists, nobody has the Father. They can claim to worship the God of Abraham, but if you don't believe in Jesus as God manifests in the flesh, the Son of God, you don't have the Father. If you don't believe the record God gave, you call him a liar. So it's important to understand that. This whole interfaith lie is nonsense. And I know I kind of segued, but it's very important to this discussion to understand that that this union or submission that's going to happen when Christ returns, it will be in power. And it is a lie from Satan. We have to understand that this whole interfaithism is a lie. So the statue of Daniel 2, the prophecy there, tells us exactly what we're going to see. And we can actually see it happening right now. There's even recently been kind of a resurgence of membership in the Catholic Church, specifically since Charlie Kirk was killed. There's a lot of Gen Zs and even millennials, what do they call the new ones that, what?
X?
No, then there's after Gen
Alpha.
Z, Gen Alpha. Yeah. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of people going to church, unfortunately, because they're going to be fed lies, but there's been a resurgence in the Catholic Church because of that. And people think that they're going into Christianity when they go into the Catholic Church. They don't understand that being a Catholic has nothing to do with Christianity. And even though they profess that they are.
Yeah, but they don't even say they're Christians. They say we're Catholics. There's
Right.
Catholics and then there's Christians.
And it depends on who you talk to, though, because Catholics do say they're Christian for the most part. But there are Catholics that will say no,
they keep it separate.
And they will say there's a difference. And
like Tim always says that he said, I'm not a Christian. I was born and raised a Catholic, but I'm not a Christian. And
there is a
so I guess it is divided.
And it just depends on who you talk to. And if you're curious about any of this origin of the Catholic Church that I talk about, and it's a very long article because it goes through a lot of the history of the Catholic Church and things that happened. But towards the bottom of this, I actually talk about, the similarities of the Catholic Church to the modern Protestant churches today. The Reformation was supposed to bring change to Christianity because they knew the error of the Vatican. So they left the Catholic Church and created the Protestant Revolution. The Protestant Reformation is what they call it. But they brought too many of the traditions of the Catholic Church with them. They didn't go all the way back to the Book of Acts. And now, hundreds of years later, it has just gone full circle. And the churches of today are really just identical they're like little daughter Catholic churches is really what they are. They're just like the Catholic Church. And so anyway, it's important to understand that. That's very important to understand that is a lie. There is no, and then I was going to show you here also that in the Catholic Church, what does the Catholic Church say is salvation? This is the plan of salvation according to the Vatican. And I challenge anyone to find the name of Jesus anywhere in there, because it's not. It is not anywhere in that. It's not a part of the sacraments. It's not part of anything that the church teaches to receive salvation. It's a lie. It's an outright vulgar lie. There is no salvation in the church. The salvation comes through Jesus Christ, obedience and repentance to him. And that's it, not a church. And so, Catholics will argue till they're blue in the face that it's the church. But, Jesus said, come out of her, my people. If you're someone in the Catholic Church or even in the daughter churches and you love Jesus, then you should come out of those apostate churches, because there is no church that I've ever seen that doesn't teach at least a lie or three. And most of them 10 or 20, or some of them are so bad that there's like hardly any truth, and that's the thing, is the best liars always mix truth with the lie in order to make the lie more palatable. Well, that's what Satan has done with the apostate churches is, they teach some truth, but when you mix that lie in there, it just becomes an apostate lie. It is no longer the truth. So don't believe that. Don't believe in interfaithism. You've got to understand that, first of all. But this prophecy shows us that this is what will be in power. And that's what I started to allude to, is that, we can see it today, where there's this resurgence in the Catholic Church. Islam is growing. Islam is being accepted around the world, even though it's like the worst possible way of life that you can think of. This religion of Islam under Sharia law believes and currently employs slavery, pedophilia, rape and murder, child marriage. There's so many awful, crazy things that everybody's supposed to be against today, but all of a sudden it's okay to embrace this religion that employs all the things that we're supposed to be against. It's so absolutely crazy. But it's the lying wonders of Satan that we see the world under a strong delusion. They're literally going insane.
You know, I was thinking about where you were saying before, what was it? That the Antichrist will not be the religion of his forefathers, I think is what it is.
Well, it's not that he won't be the religion of his forefathers, but in Daniel 11, it's that he does not regard the God of his fathers.
So he's against it, but practices it just because.
And it made me think of what's that guy in New York, Mamdani? His wife, when she was younger, she was like involved in something.
Oh yeah, lots of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're Muslim, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, they're Muslim.
So they don't. He's not treating his wife like she's an animal or anything.
Well, that's the thing in the Western culture. Remember, what they do is they use taqiyya. They lie and they deceive and they pretend they're just like us, and they pretend that they're this loving, wonderful religion to fool us specifically. Yeah.
But he doesn't. But apparently, he thinks it's okay. He's really proud of her. He said that she was such a good wife.
Yeah.
She was involved in some crazy stuff when she was younger.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know.
Stuff.
That's the thing you have to remember is that it's only until they become the ruling body, and then once they become the ruling body and implement Sharia law like they did in Iran, that's when everything changes, because they'll let you do whatever you want and think whatever you want, as they just keep building Islam and building Islam, letting everyone be deceived until it comes to the point where they're now the ruling body, and then.
But do you think he's going to mistreat his wife down the road?
He might be mistreating his wife now, but in private.
You never know. Yeah.
Yeah,
but here's the thing.
Why would he want a woman that was actually?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I understand that, but his goal is to destroy America. His goal is to start in New York and destroy New York, and he's. Mamdani is almost certainly one of the secret society. You know, he's been put there specifically for this purpose. And remember and think about this, because not every Muslim man who has been raised in Islam wants to mistreat his wife.
Yeah.
Not every man wants to do that. The ones that are raised in Islam, they have to pretend to their brothers and their other Islamic
they might
people
actually love
that they
them.
are, but in private they may treat their wife very well, because not all of them are mean, nasty people. And that's why Islam is attractive to people like men that want to be cruel. Islam's very attractive to them. They want to be lords over their wife. They want to rule with a rod of with a whip, and they love evil and violence. Those kind of people love Islam. They're attracted to it.
Don't you think that a lot of the Muslims here in this country, because they're Americanized Muslims, so they might be a little more lax when it comes to that belief system?
That's why I was saying that about the Antichrist, because I thought maybe he's going to be more like that.
Well, he doesn't regard the God of his fathers. He's a Muslim, but he's not a true believer. And he doesn't regard any God, but he honors the God of forces, which is Satan. A God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold, silver, precious stones.
So he won't necessarily be practicing Muslim.
Well, but he will be on the surface, and he will be to the world, but in his heart, he does not regard the God of his fathers. In his heart, he's really a Luciferian who is working and serving Satan, and that's remember, it's
Yeah.
Satan himself that gives him the power to take over the world in Revelation 13.
Right.
Yeah.
I kept thinking that what that meant was that he was not going to be a practicing Muslim like they are today. And then I realized that Mamdani, his wife, was not wearing all these
Hijabs
covering.
and
Yeah, that he actually was with a woman who was with the militia or something in the past.
Yeah. And
Oh.
even
and
some,
I thought the Muslims that we're talking about, those women aren't put out to fight. They're dogs to them.
yeah, well, and that's what Islam teaches, right?
yeah.
Islam teaches that women are only a half a man, or some even believe that they're not even really human.
Yeah.
And go that far, and that's what it teaches. But even in some Muslim nations, like
Heck.
Jordan, for example,
Oh yeah, Jordan.
women are not as mistreated there as they are like in Iran, for example, where it's strict Sharia law.
They'll marry for
Yeah.
love.
Saudi
They'll actually marry
Arabia,
for love.
there've been a lot of fighting in Saudi Arabia because women want to have more rights, but the according to Sharia law, they can't. And so there's been a lot of fighting in
Depends
Saudi
on
Arabia.
the Islamic country.
Yeah, and some of them are a little more lax than others, and especially today, it's kind of like, you have to think about it, right? All of these people that don't really believe it and don't really love Jesus, but go to church, right?
Mhm.
It is such a lax, apostate, just ridiculous version of Christianity. It's not real Christianity. Well,
Mhm.
so has that happened in Islam, right? The
Yeah.
rulers typically of the Muslim nations are strict Sharia law, strict Muslims. The imams certainly are going to be mostly, but it depends. Like different pastors have different ways of dealing with people, different
True.
doctrines, different imams will tell you different
Might
things.
be a different
And
country.
especially westernized countries, westernized Muslims are going to be lied to and deceived by their imams in order to make them feel comfortable until they can become devout Muslims, and it's all the practice of taqiyya and the lying
Mhm.
to assist the ascendancy of Islam that has been used for millennia by Islam.
So I wonder when the Antichrist comes into power, I'm wondering what their true practices are going to be.
Oh, that's the
Because
thing is when you
there are
look,
different Muslim beliefs.
yeah, and when you look at Revelation
They'll probably
13,
follow the Antichrist.
and we look at 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, this man is actually going to claim to be God. He's going to claim to be the Mahdi of Islam, but he's going to sit in the temple of God. He's going to sit in the rebuilt temple in Jerusalem and claim to be the God of Abraham, and he's going to sit in the temple of God, claiming to be God. I mean, that's what it says, right? So whatever he ends up bringing to the forefront of this religion, it's going to be Muslim based. It's going to be a Muslim based religion, but he's going to sit in the temple of God showing himself that he is God. And so he's going to be the Mahdi of Islam, but he's somehow going to claim to be something above and beyond that. And so he's going to be a Muslim, but he's going to bring a new phase to the Muslim religion, right? And remember, it's God that puts it in the hearts of the 10 kings to give him their power, because most people would say, well, no, Muslims would never allow that. And most Muslims wouldn't. But remember, God puts it in their hearts.
Yes.
To give their power to the Antichrist in Revelation 17:17. God puts it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast. Those 10 kings from Daniel 7, the 10 toes of Daniel 2, the 10 kings of the 10 horns of the beast in Revelation 13 are all these 10 kings. These 10 kings give their give their kingdom to the Antichrist,
And
because
they're going to be
God,
Muslim kingdoms, right?
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
they will
Islamic.
be lifting up this man as the Muslim Mahdi that all of Islam is
So
waiting
I'm
for
just
today.
wondering, I was just curious to know, since they're all Muslim countries, not every Muslim country believes in the same thing.
Right.
You know,
Especially
so how are they going to treat women during that time?
Right.
Are they going to wear hijabs? Are they going to be able to not wear them? Things
Right.
like that.
And that's what we can't really say, because in some
Oh.
countries they don't really force women to wear the hijabs as strictly
Yeah.
as other
But I
places
think
do.
the Antichrist is going to have so much control that it's going to be what he says they need to do. And if they want all the Muslims to come together as one religion, they may be all falling in step with what the Antichrist
Right.
wants, and whatever that is.
That's what's going to happen. It's going to be the lying wonders.
I don't
of
think
Satan.
he's going to let them think on their
Right.
own.
Right. So
No.
it's going to be a version of Islam, but it'll be a new version of Islam under this new man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the way they treat people in Afghanistan, like Hamas and Hezbollah and all those gangs,
yeah.
Islamic gangs,
And yeah, that's the thing. It's like I said, most
jihadis.
men that love violence love Islam. And so yes, there are a lot of Muslim men that are violent.
Yeah, they're going to be violent.
and
I
mean
bet.
to their wives,
Mhm.
and they're justified in doing it, even commanded to do so in the Quran. So
That's why I was wondering what we think, or can only estimate what
Right.
it's going to be like at that time,
right,
Mhm.
right. We know that it's going to be somewhat different because he's actually going to claim to be God, and that's a thing that
Yeah.
no, that Muslims don't expect that in their prophecies. Right? They expect the Mahdi to rise and establish the caliphate, and he's going to follow in the footsteps that Satan has set up in the false prophecies of Islam.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a kind of a new Islam. It's
But
gonna
I
be
think they are going to
what he
follow him.
creates. Yeah.
They're
Well, they
going to
will.
follow him.
Just like the 10 kings, God puts it in their heart to give
Right.
their kingdom to the beast. Well, God's gonna create this desire for Muslims to follow this man. Obviously.
Mhm.
So whatever he says,
Yeah.
I bet he
Yeah.
punishes everybody, not just the Christians and Jews. He's going to want to punish everybody who doesn't submit to him.
Oh yeah. Even
Whether
Muslims.
you're a Muslim or
If-
you're a Catholic or
you're
Jew,
going to be
or-
required to be worshiping him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Muslims will be required to worship him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of the imams, the leaders of Islam will all be telling their people, yeah, this is what they're expecting as their
Right.
Messiah.
Mhm.
So is going to come with all of God's authority, basically. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all this
Well, I hope I'm
kind of plays out, right? Because we'll be here and we'll see how that happens.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how it actually formulates in the real world and what it really is. Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting.
Mhm.
It's going to be interesting, but not exciting, because
No, not exciting.
That's going to bring the great tribulation, right?
Ugh.
When he takes over the world. So it's not going to be a
Yeah.
fun time for anybody, but we're going to be serving God during that time. And it is
We're
going
just
to
going to
be
have to rely on
interesting
God.
to
We don't
watch.
really have a choice. You can curl up and die, or you can serve God.
Yeah, pretty
Either
much.
way,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And that's what,
if I die, I'd rather be
that's kind
serving
of
God at that time.
the apostate churchianity of today says, don't do anything, because if you do anything for God, then you're trying to work your way into heaven. And that's just the dumbest excuse that could ever be.
Yeah.
We don't do works for salvation. We do works because of salvation. because we
Yeah.
love the Lord, because we want to be obedient to him, because we want everyone else to know this wonderful God that we know, and to dispel all the lies of Satan. I mean, that's our duty as a Christian. A
Mhm.
Christian soldier. We should be fighting this battle. And it's a spiritual battle, as the Bible tells us, right? It's the forces of darkness that we're fighting against. And we need to be donning the armor and fighting the fight, as all Christians should be doing. But of course, they don't teach anything like that in churchianity today. So,
Well, they'll tell you to like go out and bring people to church.
yeah, so they can be deceived like you are. Yeah, sure. Anyway, back to this. So we know this is what's going to happen. We can know for a fact that Catholicism and Islam are going to be part of the ruling body that's created by the Antichrist, because that's the iron mingled with clay that will be in power when Christ returns. Now, when you look at the world today and you look at interfaithism that Catholicism has been preaching, it's not believed the other way, right? Islam does not believe in interfaithism. They only go along with it to lure us in, to make them stronger until they can become the ruling body. They don't believe in it. It will be a submission of Catholicism to Islam that will happen. The Pope will be the man who supports the Mahdi. He will be the Muslim Jesus, the lamb who portrays himself as a lamb but speaks as the devil, as it says in Revelation 13, the false prophet. And so the Pope will be the false prophet, and the Antichrist will be the Mahdi of Islam. And there's no way it'll be the other way. There's no way that Islam would ever follow Catholicism. So that would be literally impossible. So even though I'm speculating to say that, I can say with absolute certainty that we know it's going to be those two powers, those two religions that will be ruling the world in the end. And I can say with absolute certainty that it's going to be Islam, not just for the fact that Catholicism is going to submit, and we know it won't go the other way, but for all the other reasons that I've talked about in multiple times in our live streams, that it is going to be a 10-king union, Daniel 7, the fourth beast of Islamic nations that will lift up the Antichrist as their Mahdi. So you don't have to believe that, but you have to believe and you have to understand that it's going to be the iron mingled with clay, which is the Holy Roman / Islamic Empire, which is the EU and the Arab League today. That's a fact. That is not speculative. Which one's going to be the ruling body really is speculative. So you don't have to believe it's going to be Islam, but know that it's going to be those two powers that are the false prophet and the Antichrist ruling the world. So that's a fact. That's one of those things that we can know for sure. So I always will tell you when it's speculative, just like I'm telling you right now, that the Antichrist is going to be the Muslim Mahdi, but that's speculative because it has not actually happened yet. And the Bible doesn't specifically say which one of these will be the Antichrist versus the false prophet, the ruling powers. So I have to say that, right? I have to tell you that. You can make up your own mind. And then, of course, when that day comes, we'll see it, and then we'll know for sure. Mm. As it says in 2 Thessalonians 2, that's when the Antichrist will be revealed is at that time. And then we'll know for absolute certainty who he is. But know that it's going to be the Catholic Muslim union that will rule the world, that will be under the Antichrist, and will be ruling the world when Christ returns. That's what this prophecy tells us, without a doubt. It will be Catholicism and Islam that join together. And as I said, speculatively, it will be a submission of Catholicism to Islam. So that's absolute certainty. We know that. We know there's a one world government coming, and it's going to be literally, it's going to be state. It's going to be the church and the state combined, right? It's going to be a church state is what it's going to be. It's going to be a religious union that rules the world at that time. And, after the Sixth Trumpet War, the world's going to be okay with that. They're going to be clamoring for a savior. They're going to be perfectly fine with, being forced into this because they don't want another war like that. When a third part of mankind dies, people are going to be terrified.
Yeah.
That's why they're going to give.
I think it would be easy for anybody to step up at that point.
Yeah.
Somebody saying, I'm here, I'm God. So I'm going to save everybody, take care of everybody. And everybody will just be
to worry about.
Yeah. And be so dependent on the government and anybody who will give them food to stay alive.
Yeah, because it's going to be a terrible time. When that happens, there's going to be a lot of chaos in the world because, commerce will fail completely worldwide. You won't have grocery stores full of food. It's going to be a real bad time. And so someone coming and creating a new system, setting up a new world order, which is exactly what the Antichrist is going to do. So I've got a lot more on this document. One of the things that I have on here is the duplicate prophecies of Islam, which I also have under the notes menu under Islam and the Bible, but I've also included it here for anyone who's reading this particular chapter in my book, where I have these duplicate prophecies that Satan set up in Islam that mirror the Bible exactly, but it's the exact opposite, where the good guys of Islam, the Mahdi and the Muslim Jesus, are the Antichrist and the false prophet of the Bible. And Satan did this on purpose to literally fool everyone who believes in Islam, believes the prophecies of Islam. It will fool them 100% because Satan set it up that way because he knows the prophecies of the Bible are going to come true. He knows that. So he set it up to look like their prophecies are coming true, that it's not really the bad guy, it's the good guy. This is what Satan has done. He's going to fool them absolutely. And the same with Catholics, unfortunately. The Catholics are going to be fooled in the exact same way, where the prophecies of Catholicism are very similar to the prophecies of Islam, where the great monarch or the final emperor, as some call it, and the final angelic pope are going to bring, the world into a new one world religion, right? Which is going to happen under the Antichrist. And so Catholicism and Islam have these duplicate prophecies that are just going to fool them absolutely. And so I've got that. I've also got, who is this entity in Revelation 17 and 18, right? And I talk about this in this chapter as well. And, who is this woman that sits on many people's, and
the great hoe.
And we've already talked the great hoe. Yeah. We've already talked about that though. So I'm not going to go into that because we just recently have talked about this. So if you're new to this channel, you can go and watch a couple of our old live streams. If you're on any of the channels, of course, you can always go back and watch later, but you can always go to videos.prophecyandtruth.com and go to the live tab. And then our live stream is happening right now on this page, but I have a live stream archive where I've archived all of our past, and it's not all of them, but it's the past few months worth of live streams. So you can watch them here. And they're, it's page is loading kind of slow because there's so many videos on it, but you can watch them here. So you can, and you don't have to worry about ads on my website.
Yeah.
I don't have any ads. So that's the thing that I try to encourage people to go there. If you don't have a paid account on Rumble or on YouTube, of course you have to watch ads. So you can always watch them on my video site for free and without ads. So anyway, you can check that out. You can check out this document, which we're literally looking at chapter 7 on my website. So you can see for yourself who the great Ho is. And the daughters. Who are the daughters?
Said so seriously. Usually it's like, we're going to talk about the great Ho.
Yeah. yeah. Well, the Bible does call it a whore because it's a false religion that claims to be from God, which is what God calls a whore. So that's just the word that was used in the Bible. So yeah. But anyway, you can check that out yourself. I have a lot, like I said, it's a long article. I've got a lot of other information about all of that. I've got some videos that are embedded here. I've got other articles. I've got information on who the Antichrist is, video link to where you can go and actually take you to the videos site and who is this entity and who is the Antichrist. So if you're interested, you can go to this page and get this additional information, which I've also got videos on the video site on all of this stuff. So that is chapter 7. It's basically looking at Daniel 2, knowing that this entity that we see in this statue, the 5th section of that statue, which will exist and be in power when Christ returns. Remember, there's consecutive kingdoms. So it started with Babylon all the way to today and the return of Christ. And we know for a fact that it's going to be the EU, Catholicism, and the Arab League, Islam, which will rule.
Instagram
just disconnected. So I put on Instagram, if anyone was watching there, I put it on there that if you're on Instagram and you're watching, it's going to stop after an hour, which it just did, and to come to the video site. So hopefully if anybody was watching there, they will. And continue watching. So that is chapter 7. I'm not going to go into chapter 8, but we will do that in our next live on what's next, right? What are we waiting for right now? What's coming in biblical prophecy? So that'll be a very interesting study. And before we get into the news, my wife wants to read her favorite chapter of the Bible.
Oh, I love this chapter so much.
Go ahead, honey.
Okay, Psalm 104. Bless the Lord, O my soul, O Lord my God. Thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty. Who coverest thyself with light as with a garment, who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers of flaming fire, who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed. forever.
Mm.
Thou coverest it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains. At thy rebuke they fled. At the voice of thy thunder they hasted away. They go up by the mountains, they go down by the valleys, unto the place which thou hast founded for them. Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth. He sendeth the springs into the valleys, which run among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field. The wild asses quench their thirst. By them shall the fowls of the heaven have their habitation, which sing among the branches. He watereth the hills from his chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth, and wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart. The trees of the Lord are full of sap, the cedars of Lebanon, which he hath planted. Is that Lebanon, the Lebanon?
Yes,
Lebanon?
it is.
Where the birds make their nests, as for the stork. The fir trees are her house. The high hills are a refuge for the wild goats, and the rocks for the conies. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down. Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth. The young lions roar after their prey, and seek their meat from God. The sun ariseth, they gather themselves together, and lay them down in their dens. Man goeth forth unto his work, and to his labor until the evening. O Lord, how manifold O Lord, how manifold are thy works. In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches.
Yeah.
I just can't help it. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein. These wait all upon thee, that thou mayest give them their meat in due season. That thou givest them, they gather. Thou openest thine hand, they are filled with good. Thou hidest thy face, they are troubled. Thou takest away their breath, they die and return to their dust. Thou sendest forth thy spirit, they are created, and thou renewest the face of the earth. The glory of the Lord shall endure forever. The Lord shall rejoice in his works. He looketh on the earth, and it trembleth. He touches the hills, and they smoke. I will sing unto the Lord as long as I live. I will sing praise to my God while I have my being. My meditation of him shall be sweet. I will be glad in the Lord. Let the sinners be consumed out of the earth, and let the wicked be no more. Bless thou the Lord, O my soul. Praise ye the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Come on now. How can that not be anybody's favorite chapter of the Bible?
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's such a beautiful
Praise
chapter.
God. He is everything.
Psalms is so good.
I know. I know. I just get so full of emotion.
And that's David praying that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a song, a psalm of David.
Song.
Yeah. It doesn't say. Sometimes it says at the front.
That's
at the
just.
top, but it's
It shows how much he really loves. That's how he sees God.
Mm-hmm.
That he is the glory of everything, the world, the his creation.
Yeah. He is all power.
Yeah.
Everything.
I know. Jody
Awesome.
said, amen. I love Psalms too. So
Yeah.
beautiful.
That is such a powerful song.
Yeah.
It really is. I
It's
mean,
my favorite.
God has all power. God gives
Mhm.
and takes away as he wills. And it's just, he is
Hmm.
everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
But I'm just so mushy anyway. I mean,
Mhm. Oh, thanks, Eddie. I love that. Thanks for reading.
yeah.
Yes,
So-
it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we'll switch to news now.
Now it's news. Now we talk about Trump. Can I just say this one thing that that people might have missed about Trump? What he
Sure.
said about, well, no, a senator, I'm not going to tell you who said it, but a senator said that President Trump's oranges, President Trump has oranges that are as big as beach balls.
Insinuating something else, yes.
To insinuate
Yeah,
the
that's
fact
funny.
that he's a tough guy.
He's got kahunas. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
Definitely.
nobody.
Yeah. He's the man.
I just had to say that. That was your.
I thought you were going to say, no, what he really meant was, but okay.
No, I'm not going to
No,
say
we're
that.
not going to say what he. I just thought it was funny the way that it was Senator Kennedy from Louisiana.
Yeah. Yeah, and Trump definitely is bold.
He's pretty tough.
He's
Yeah.
bold,
Yeah, he is. He just kind of
Yeah.
says whatever he wants to say.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So, normally we look at when is the end of the world and all the prophecies that would herald Jesus gave, the signs that Jesus gave that would herald us coming. We look at earthquakes typically. We've
Taiwan.
had 2,142 earthquakes in the last 7 days.
Taiwan.
I mean, we're still on track to spike again this year.
Can you point to Taiwan?
Taiwan.
Okay, they
is
have
right,
had a few.
right about here.
They've had a few. A few.
That would be Taiwan.
A 5.8.
Yeah, they had a 5.8, and then they had a 4.9 off the coast. Yeah, this was just off the coast. Looks like probably caused some waves there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, we watch this because this is one of the signs that Jesus gave, is that there would be diverse earthquakes, great earthquakes in diverse places. And, we've had large numbers of 6+ earthquakes in the last few years since we've been looking at them. We've watched, so many greater than 6, lots of 7s, even an 8.8, just massive.
Where was it? 8.8? Russia?
Yeah, that was the one that was up here a few months ago. And remember, it just kept having more and more and more 6s and 7s there constantly for a long time. And it's settled down now, but we're still getting a lot of earthquakes in that area. A 5, but so it has settled down. But these things are going to continue. We know that for a fact, because Jesus said that men's hearts would be failing them for fear because of the things that are happening on the earth, all of these signs that he told us about. So definitely check that out. If you have not seen it, if you haven't seen that page, it's on BibleProphecyandTruth.com. Scroll about 2/3 of the way down the page to where you see this picture. And then this is where I talk about charts and graphs, and I'll talk about all the things that Jesus said would herald his coming, all the signs and how they're all happening. And then all the other things in the Bible that show us this time frame. And then at the bottom, there's a link to a playlist where Diane created a video for each one of the prophecies of the signs. So definitely check it out if you haven't
many?
seen
10?
it.
Remember how many?
No, there's
How many episodes? How many parts? There's 12.
there's
12. So 12. So there was 12 signs that the Bible gave.
so there's
Jesus gave.
There's
I
12.
think one of them I had 2 or something.
Yeah, there's 12. There's
Oh.
12 signs videos, and then there's the live stream, And then I also added Enoch's 10 weeks video to that because it really goes right
12.
along with the
So
signs
basically 12 signs.
of when the end is coming. Enoch's 10 weeks is just so amazing. I had to add it here. But these are all your videos, yeah. So definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. But let's go ahead and move on to the news. Latest, greatest. Well, latest anyway. I don't know about greatest. But to the Trump administration, beware of the so-called moderates, because, right, there's this frame that, you know, it's a struggle between the moderates and the hardliners in Iran. This is a misleading deception that Islam is always guilty of, has always done this. This is what they're doing now. And this is why this article is basically, this is to Trump, beware of the so-called moderates. Because remember, you know, even Erdogan of Turkey even said there is no such thing as moderate Islam.
Right, right.
The son of the founder of Hamas that's turned Christian said there is no such thing as moderate Islam. It does not exist. So, you know, trying to make a deal with terrorists is just kind of
Ignorant.
It's not going to work.
It's a little ignorant.
They're only going to lie, you know.
It's an uneducated thing.
Yeah, and it's like I've said before, I really hope and pray that he is not being swayed into believing in interfaithism, because I really think he is, and believing that he can deal with these people on a, you know, any kind of real truthful level is just
Didn't he invite
ridiculous.
a jihadi to the White House?
Yeah, did. Yeah, this jihadi murderer that's now ruling Syria is now rubbing elbows with world leaders, you know. But here's actually the very latest. This is on Truth Social.
Yeah.
And this is what Trump has just said just before the live stream started, actually, where he's going to start this Project Freedom, Project Freedom that he's calling it, which will begin Monday morning. So tomorrow morning, Middle Eastern time, is that he's going to start escorting ships.
Middle Eastern time, so we'll wake up to it already happening.
Yeah.
They're ahead of us.
Yeah.
So it will already be happening while we're asleep. Yeah. Which he's going to start escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz to get them out of there. You know, it's not their fault. They're just innocent bystanders, you know, so on and so forth. But this is literally, you know, I'm not part of Trump's inner circle, but I'm telling you, this was his plan from the very beginning. He knew that Iran would pull this card to close the Strait of Hormuz and that he was going to come in there and take it over. He knew that long ago. And this is his plan to completely take away that route, that shipping route, to take that card away from Iran and to destroy OPEC and create a completely new global oil economy. And that's exactly what he's doing. And that's exactly where he's going with this Project Freedom. You know, we're going to start escorting you through there now so you can get out and go on with your business. And but all of the routes, oil routes, are now being rerouted. They're going across land to the other side and going into the water there, and they're just he's going to try to let all the boats, there's like hundreds of boats and they're waiting and try to get them through and let them out and move forward with this new oil economy that he's creating. Yeah. So that's interesting to see.
As long as our gas prices go down, they're almost
Yeah.
$5 a gallon.
Well,
here.
and yeah, it's getting ridiculous. But what I've got a little bit later on my list here is that the same thing Trump is saying. Trump is saying that they're going to go way down and they're going to go down fast as soon as this is over, and it's supposedly over now. And then we've got some other government officials, experts in this, that are saying that the price of gas is going to go way down below what it used to be. So,
And they got the fake news was saying that, oh, it's going to take quite a few years for us to get prices
year.
down.
2027.
No, they were
Years?
saying more than a year. And
Yeah,
I was like, I
2027.
don't think so.
Yeah,
no,
no.
prices fluctuate overnight. Don't they know that?
Yeah, they
It
do.
sounded so stupid.
I know,
Yeah.
but people believe them though. That's what's crazy is people still watch the mainstream media and just believe what they say.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Well, we'll see, because that's either our quickly or God's quickly,
Yeah.
right? Because that could be
Yeah.
1,000 years before it
And
comes
God
down.
may
So
have
we'll
other plans.
we'll see if they
Yeah.
go down. I'll
Yeah.
believe it when I see
We'll
it.
see, exactly. And no, there's all the other things we've been talking about, right? China, Iran still has cards to play. The Iranian military is still who's running the country.
Mhm.
So there's no moderate there. If anyone's trying to make a deal with a Trump, it's just to delay and deceive. That's all it
And
is.
Right.
Trump is saying, why don't they just say, okay, we give up?
I
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's because
It's uneducated.
it's a religious fervor that they're under. It's
Yeah.
Satan and you got to understand, I've talked about how, the what's the word I'm looking for? The population of demons.
Legion.
Well,
Legions of
demons, all demons. The population, the density of demons among populations, I should say,
Mm.
is very great in Islam, much higher than
Oh,
in the
this-
United States, right? The
Like the
density
spirit-
of demons
spirits.
possessing people, evil spirits, are much greater, much higher in Muslim areas.
Oh, I believe that.
And so one of the things
Yeah.
that this religious fervor is being coaxed and generated by demons to get them hyped into this religious fervor and to not back down when any sane person would say, okay, it's time to give up.
Right. They're stronger.
They're not going to back down because
Right.
They don't care if they die.
yeah, that's their
Yeah,
They
religion.
they
get
don't.
rewards.
Their religion says that if they die a martyr, that they'll be rewarded in heaven. So that's what Satan has done to make them be okay with death.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not normal. It's not what you would normally think of. These people are not normal people. that just like the guy next door. No, they're not at all like that.
Mm-mm.
Have to understand that. Yeah. Who's really in charge in Iran? There's talk about him being dead. He supposedly is making statements, but they're written statements. So they could be coming from the true leader of the
I think
military.
He's probably injured.
And
I don't know if
He's supposed to have been injured.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
We
what I
we
believe.
really have no idea at this point. And I was even trying to figure out if was this the king of the south that disappeared in Daniel 11? But there's no
Oh.
raiser of taxes that's come up in his place
Oh.
that lived for a few days. So, and I'm
Oh,
watching
you're
all of this,
watching.
right? I'm waiting to see what happens in the world that matches the prophecies, and that would be extremely interesting if.
Well, who has Trump been talking to? Oh, you said it was all in writing, huh?
Well, no, statements from this guy, the son of
That's
the
his son.
Khomeini. Khomeini's son is supposed to be in charge now, but he's made a couple of statements in writing. But Trump's actually been talking to people from Iran who say that they're in charge, who are trying to make a deal with him. But I think some of those people are either a faction that is not among the military, or the military themselves just deceiving, trying to put somebody up there to delay and delay and delay, which would be their normal tactic.
Yeah.
Wow. He better find out, first of all, who he's supposed to talk to and talk to the same person every time.
I know. That's the whole thing.
Not.
That's the whole thing.
He's not.
And that's
No,
why they're not even doing negotiations anymore. They're not. He said that they're not going to go on any more 18-hour flights. They're not going over there. They're not talking. They're gonna have to call him. They're gonna, and really, he doesn't really even want. He really is using this to his advantage.
Yeah.
He knew this would happen.
Closed.
He wanted the Strait of Hormuz closed, and he wants to do exactly what he's doing right now.
He's trying to cut off China and Iran. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to cut both of those countries off.
Trying to break the whole,
he's taking their power away from them.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see if it works, of course. Trump orders aides to prepare for long-term blockade because they're trying to block Iran from doing anything. They're trying to escort the other ships out, but they don't want Iran to be able to do anything because they're trying to destroy the Iranian economy so they'll finally give up, which he thinks they'll do. I would be very, very surprised if they actually gave up. I don't see that happening ever.
Well, the thing is who's going to sign a peace treaty? There's got to be a person, or is it going to be that little pen thing that Biden used?
Yeah, I know.
Auto pen.
Auto pen. I mean, who is he supposed to talk to?
And even if he gets an agreement, is the military going to go along with that agreement? Because the military is what's really in charge.
It's going to be forced.
Who in the military is in charge?
And then they keep saying that the military is destroyed.
No, it's not.
But I don't think it is. There's millions and millions of people in Iran, which means that somebody is going to be in charge.
Well, they've still got rockets underground. They've still got militants fighting.
I think they still
they've
have
destroyed
some power.
most of their navy, but they still have some small ships they're using. They still have rockets. They still, and you have to remember that China and Russia are still sending them weapons, drones.
So why aren't they using them?
They are. There's supposedly a ceasefire. There's supposedly a ceasefire now.
What did you say?
I said, who are they lobbing them at?
Well, they're actually firing them at the other Middle Eastern countries, and I believe they're trying to stir up a war. They're trying to stir things up, is what they're trying to do.
They want their mahdi.
So they're lobbing bombs at other countries that aren't even a part of this.
Yes.
Yes.
All their border countries.
And you have to remember.
I think Kelly was right. They're like little children. You say, no, you go over on that side and you go over on that side.
Yeah, I know.
But you have to remember the Shiite Muslims, which Iran is 99% Shiite. They believe that creating this world chaos, stirring the world into world chaos, will bring the Mahdi.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. That's why they will not quit. That's why they're doing everything they're doing, trying to stir up a war, a greater war, so that their Mahdi will show up.
Only you said it's not going to happen.
Well,
it will eventually.
It'll happen eventually, but not eventually, right now.
But not now.
The peace treaty will happen first.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he said, just say, okay, we give up.
I know.
I know.
That would be any irrational person.
I know, and I don't think Trump is a dumb individual, but that sounds kind of dumb.
And Trump is definitely not dumb, but he does seem to be
sarcastic.
He seems to be going along with the idea that Muslims are just regular, the guy down the block.
See, I disagree.
And
I
then,
disagree. I think because he is so full of himself that I bet he sits and talks to Melania at night and says, "What? Why aren't these people listening to me? Do they know who I am? I am one of the most powerful men in the world right now.
The most powerful man in the world.
Why aren't they listening? What can I do?"
did
And
this and
especially-
I did this, and it was the best ever in history.
Yeah.
And
I deserve this.
Paula White, his false prophetess, telling him that everything you put your hand to will
It's going to be
succeed.
successful.
That's what I showed a video of that a little while ago. Her telling him that everything he puts his hand to
That does
will,
not help his ego.
you know, what is she doing?
That
Yeah.
stuff has got to stop.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why he feels so bold in all of this, because he thinks
They said that
Yeah.
the Trump literally, when they found out that there was somebody in that hotel that came to
he
assassinate
wasn't
him,
even afraid.
he was practically like yawning.
Yeah.
Like there's no fear.
He didn't
because
act afraid at all when there was a fight. When there
he
were
just
shots
was
fired.
like, "Why
Yeah.
can't we stay? We got more things to talk about."
Yeah, he's like, don't leave.
Yeah.
Everybody's
He does
freaking
have
out,
that
hiding under
attitude.
tables.
Because he thinks he
he's just
is
sitting there.
that God wants him to stay alive to carry these things through.
Yeah. And
Which
God
could be
is-
true, but
God
it's
is
just,
definitely using Trump. There's
Yeah,
no doubt
he's using him,
whatsoever.
but
yeah.
if Trump dies, he's not going to heaven.
Well, he thinks he has to buy his way to heaven, so he's
he
not.
has to create peace in order to
He
get to
doesn't
heaven.
love the Lord Jesus and trust in him for salvation because he thinks he has to bring world peace to buy his way to heaven. He said those words. So that's a sad truth about Trump, is that he is totally deceived when it comes to Christianity.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's got all those liars just whispering in his ear. Franklin Graham, Paula White, all the big preachers that he's got, in his little circle. That's awful. I feel sad for him.
Me too.
And I was thinking the other day, it's funny how people can watch the fake news and they say one thing and people jump on it and like it's the complete gospel without having any proof of
No
anything
research.
he said. Yeah, they're not doing the research on it.
Yeah.
But then you tell them about the Bible and no, you gotta give them, you gotta bring Jesus down here on earth to say, oh, look at, here I am. Because they won't believe it.
I know.
They
weird.
won't just read the Bible and believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. But so
Well,
I gotta.
They believe whatever they hear on other things, but not about God.
I know.
That's weird.
Wow.
It's crazy. But I'm gonna.
Kamini.
We're going on 8 o'clock, so I'm
Kamini.
gonna get through the news here real quick. Most of this is after this stuff, like after he said this thing, this peace thing that he's going to do and escort the ships. So this is stuff that happened before that. He's rejected Iran's offer, of course. Khomeini wrote a letter, right? So he threatens to send the U.S. fleet to the bottom of the Persian Gulf.
Oh,
Good luck with that. It's
good luck with that.
They make these empty threats that nobody believes they can do that, but they're
Except the
threatening.
Democrats.
They're
Those are not
threatening.
fair. Yeah, damn
We're going to
right.
sink your fleet.
You're
Well,
right about that.
we already destroyed your entire navy. How are you going to do that?
The left are
It's crazy.
on Iran's side.
I know they are. They're literally on Iran's side. Yeah. Pakistan opens land trade routes to Iran. So despite the blockade, they're opening
doing-
land routes through Pakistan.
They ought to stop that. They ought
well,
to stop that dead in their tracks.
And but the thing is, we're not at war with Pakistan. We're going to start a war with Pakistan
Well,
to go in
No.
there and try to stop this. I mean,
no.
so
But still,
Trump's plan may still work anyway.
Does it
seems to be
take
shaping up.
less time for them to get their oil from the United
land?
States?
Well,
If they
the
go by land.
whole thing is the refineries and everything are all set up to push it to the strait, to the Persian Gulf, right? And to go down through the strait. That's the way it's happened for decades. So to change that routing just takes a lot of work to get it going the other direction. And certainly they can truck it across land and go to the other side. But it's
Probably take more time.
It just takes time for that to happen.
Oh.
So, and then here's an article about, defeating Iran's regime requires patience, but shouldn't take forever, right? Given enough time, a combination of economic and military pressure may be enough for Trump to topple the Islamic terrorists. The question is, does he have the time? And that is really the question. So, and then the Dems, of course, are trying to stop him because there's a thing in the war powers resolution, right? That's in the law that he was using to go to war. And there's a 60-day mark in that, where there's a 60-day threshold where he must seek congressional approval to continue. And so right before the 60-day mark, he says, oh, it's over.
See?
We've terminated. There's no need to seek authorization because it's over now. I think that's hilarious.
He's not dumb.
I can see them just.
You don't become a billionaire
fuming,
if you're
steam
dumb.
coming out of their ears because they're so.
Oh yeah, because they can't get.
Because
ahead.
he's playing them, he's beating them at their own game so badly. It's so amazing to watch.
Art of the deal, baby. Art of the deal.
There's talk that Don Jr. is going to reopen that, the Art of the Deal.
Oh.
And that his son is going to take it.
We'll see.
Because Annie will be watching it again.
So, and then
you're fired.
This is an article I would like, well, why is our gas so high? So Venezuela, 75% of Venezuelan oil went to China. So now it's coming to the US. Chevron is now shipping 400,000 barrels a day, replacing the 500,000 that used to go through the Strait of Hormuz. So that's pretty close to the same. So why is gas so high if we're getting our oil from Venezuela? Why is this happening? That's what I want to know. Why is gas so high if we're getting the same amount of oil and it hasn't stopped?
Hello? That's what I've been asking for 2 months.
Are they just ripping us off because they can? Say, well, gas prices are going up. We're charging you $4.50 a gallon.
Well, no, even Trump
get better.
Well, even Trump recognizes the fact that the gas is high.
I know, but if we're getting this much gas, getting the oil from Venezuela, then why? Why?
Yeah.
We don't care about the Strait of Hormuz. We didn't get that much gas through there anyway.
I know. So
why?
That should not be affecting the United States. So
exactly. That's my question.
Iran to have it?
Yeah. I have no idea why gas is so high if this is true.
Yeah, that really doesn't make much sense.
I know.
But nobody's answering the question.
We're getting Venezuela oil. Why?
Well, go on Truth Social and ask Trump.
He's got that last post, he had 1,500 comments, and and going up.
Yeah, so you can't get a hold of them.
I know.
Yeah. And Trump has said this, and Treasury Besant says that the oil prices will come down after the Iran war, and says on the other side of this conflict, oil prices are going to be much lower. So even lower than they used to be, pre-Biden, right? Back when Trump's first term.
Well, they have to make money, so they can't go too low.
Well, they
really
do price gouge. They price gouge like crazy. OPEC is a scam.
Well, somebody's closing. That's getting closed. Well,
they're getting filthy, stinking rich, is what they're doing. They could charge way less for the oil and still have plenty of money.
Aren't they getting axed?
Well, OPEC is. I mean, it's like their OPEC seems to be crumbling, which is a good thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then, lithium discovered in Appalachia that could power the world for centuries. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But I've got an article here and it's from that guy. Oh, what's his name? Crap. It just poof, slipped my tongue. He's not English, but he speaks with an English accent, and it's that guy that we watch all the time.
Neil McCoy?
Neil McCoy, yes, thank you. This is an article from Neil McCoy, if you know who he is. Talks about this very thing where, the Chinese are moving to stop rare earths. This is going to be the Chinese card that they're going to play in what Trump is doing. And so they're making moves to stop the rare earths and to be able to stop us from being able to. It's a necessary thing for manufacturing anything these days. Phones, cars, jets, everything. And so they control it. They control roughly 2/3 of global mining and 90% of refining. And that is the most important thing about this, is the refining. The refining of those rare earths is what's the absolute important thing about this, because 90% of it is China. Even other countries ship to China that have mined this stuff. They ship to China for the refining. So that's why I'm talking about this here, right? This is not, oh, this is great. Because in order for us to start doing this, to build it from scratch is a minimum 5 to 10 year project. To just begin refining these rare earths. So this isn't anything that's going to happen overnight.
No.
China has a real card to play here. So that's the reason I'm bringing this up. It's something to be aware of, to be knowledgeable about, because, you can't just go, oh boy, we can get rare earths from here. Well, first you got to start mining it, which is years to just start a flow. And then the refineries to be built, 5 to 10 years to get that process flowing. So, it's not anything that's going to happen
overnight,
anytime soon. Yeah.
The United States has just not been using their own resources.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've been letting everybody else do it and using us, and now we're kind of stuck in a hard place.
Our government is always too lazy to do anything. Oh, we'll just pay them to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the dumbest thing in the world. We've got ourselves in this place, and I'm glad we've got Trump to try to dig us out of this hole we've dug ourselves into. I don't know if it's going to be enough, or if Trump has enough time to really pull us out, and what's going to happen next. Like what's going to happen in the midterms, right? That's why I think everybody needs to get out and vote in this midterm, because we need to make sure that the Democrats don't take power, because it'll be over then. So, hopefully DHS shutdown finally ended, except they're not funding ICE or border control. So we're not funding for border protection at all, or ICE, just like TSA and other things, So this is really
they may get some people up over the border again.
This is ridiculous.
Well, they can't.
The Department of Homeland Security cannot protect the homeland because the Democrats are trying to shut down our protetion. They literally
don't want us protected.
They hate us. Yeah,
they do hate us.
This is awful.
Yeah.
And then this is almost actually funny. Did you know that this was still happening? That there's still these flotillas going to Gaza to protest and supposedly bringing aid? Did you know that was still happening?
They're still doing that?
They're still doing that.
Why are they?
They just did this.
Why are they allowing that? Who's funding
Maybe because nobody has even noticed.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's what's really going on. because the Israeli Navy intercepted this flotilla. So here's what they found: drugs and condoms, and not one scrap of aid on these boats at all. So what it is it's a big party.
It's a party.
And of course, it's being funded by Soros and company, right? The secret society. So they're funding all of this, and they're just sending them over there, having a great party, and and it's all just to push their agenda. That's all it is, and it's just filthy, disgusting vileness is what it is. It's awful.
Oh, that is just crazy. I wonder if Trump knows about it.
Oh yeah, yeah, he does. Who's to blame for declining American support for Israel? Well, they're trying to say this, that, and the other.
It's always a left side.
Forces driven, seeking the destruction of the West and beyond, and the left. And we know what it is.
Yeah.
The secret society, the devil's minions.
The left.
Satan's minions.
It's always the left.
Yeah. Well, the left, the deep state controls the left, and the deep state is one of the arms of the secret society, who is the devil's puppet show. Really, the devil controls all of that. That's why it's always been since the creation of Israel, literally.
Mm-hmm.
The devil has been trying to destroy Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes.
And it's always throughout history, since the creation of Israel, the devil has been trying to get the world to hate the Jews.
And people hate them, but don't know why they hate them.
Yeah,
I know, they have no
even know
idea.
why.
I have no idea why they hate them. But
Like,
it's because of the propaganda that they've been fed and brainwashed with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, we can't forget about this, that the Biden administration was purposefully haven't started a war against Christianity in this country.
Yeah.
He didn't start it, though. It actually began with Obama. He just continued it. And here's the Department of Justice actually publishing details about this lengthy and purposeful discrimination against Christians. This war on Christianity that, white people bad thing is all part of the war on Christianity. As this racism that they're re-engineering and dredging up.
And it's so weird. It's so weird because in history, the KKK were Democrats.
Yeah.
And yet most black people support
Democrats.
the Democrat
It's like,
Party.
why?
And I'm just
do you
like,
know anything about
do you
history?
remember history? Do people know that Biden did the eulogy of a KKK member?
Yeah.
He did the eulogy at his funeral.
Yeah.
Biden. But people don't know that. I know that because I was listening and watching. And
yeah. I mean, there's a literal war on Christianity happening, and it's been happening for a long time. And it comes from Satan, and Satan is using Islam and Qatar to rewrite our textbooks. All the things you've been hearing about, are all on this. It's a war on Christianity because Satan's behind it.
Annie was coughing, and then I was coughing. It's weird.
Yeah. A Texas judge allows a Muslim city in Texas to resume construction. Abbott says it'll never happen. He's trying to stop it. Remember the big enclave that they're building in Texas? This judge allows it to resume. Why? Do you have any idea what Sharia law is, lady? Yeah.
Well, she's going to find out.
That's crazy. And then Mamdani
Annie
accuses Israel of violating law for intercepting the flotilla.
Oh my gosh. Shut up.
The flotilla, which was just a big...
Shut up. You're a mayor.
Big, filthy party of
evil.
grotesque
I wish Trump
animals.
could get rid of him. I wish he could.
Somehow. Yeah, somehow. Man Danny.
Because that's just
Crazy.
crazy. I mean, he's wanting to destroy our country.
I know. Well, he's just one of the puppets that they've put in place to try to bring. If you can bring down New York, that's a big start to destroying America. Yeah. And so he's just a minion of Satan that they've put in place. And, you know, of course, the Palestinian Authority is continuing to pay terrorists for pay to slay, which they're, you know, in Gaza, they're supposed to have stopped all of this stuff, right? Oh, no, it's continuing. And just for anybody who wants to know anything about this, if you go to, it's the Palestinian, it's called palwatch.org, which is where,
Palwatch.org.
and if you want to know about this stuff, right, I'm just going to show you real quick. If you go to palwatch.org, they have all kinds of information about what the Palestinians, right? What's the PLO, right? The Palestinian Liberation Organization is a terrorist group that claims itself to be just this victim that, you know, they're trying to rise out of victimhood. It's just all propaganda. It's all lies. And this website exposes all of the lies. Palwatch.org, in case anyone watching is interested. It's a great place to find information. And then, you know, a man converts to Islam, plots to throw grenades at houses and carry out killings. Oh, imagine that. Why would that happen? Isn't it a peaceful religion?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I guess not.
Turkish journalist close to Erdogan, says Turkey should become a nuclear power and consider nuking Israel. So Turkey's going to take over Iran's role in trying to wipe Israel off the map now. Because remember, it's not Iran, it's Islam.
So I think that Trump wanting to pull out of NATO, he's saying he wants to pull out of NATO, but he can't just do it overnight. It's got to be a slow.
Especially since Turkey is part of NATO, which is insane in the first place. A former Muslim American Society top dog. So Muslim American Society, right? We have a divine civilization project of guiding humanity. They think it's their duty and their right to guide humanity into Islam barbarism. Really?
Well, they are. They're going to eventually rule the world.
I
right?
know.
So they are going to get
what
they will
through the Antichrist. Yeah.
They'll get what they want for a short time.
For a short time, dude. A very short time.
And this is the attitude of Muslims, right? They think it's their right. The Muslims are the best people, according to the Quran, and must assert their authority. You know, this is why they feel empowered to just do whatever they want to do, because they think it's their right through their God, Satan.
Mm-hmm.
Palestinian Authority attacks Palestinian Media Watch for exposing its hate speech, which is the Palestinian Media Watch is the PLO, plowatch.org that I just showed you. Yeah. So they're being attacked for exposing their hate speech. Imagine that. Germany, the pressure that political Islam is exerting on students is getting bigger and bigger. So Germany is fast becoming a Muslim nation, just like the UK, just like a lot of European countries. And so when you look at the interpretation of Daniel 7 and those four beasts and the iron, the lion, the bear, and the leopard that we looked at last time, you know, you can really see how Germany will definitely be part of the Antichrist's system and his military political power base union. Germany, the UK, absolutely. Yeah. Algeria shuts churches as Christians are forced underground. And this is where Pope Leo was just there acclaiming how great it was with all the diversity in Algeria. And they're having to close churches and forcing the church to go underground. It's just the
People just
idiocy
need to wake up.
of what's going on in the world is just
Mhm.
flabbergasting. It's like, I mean,
I just
how
want
is it
people to wake up.
How
That's
is it
what I want.
people don't see this? That they don't watch, they don't look, they don't read, they don't.
I don't think they care.
It's like, well,
They
they're
don't
going to
need
care
to care.
soon.
Yeah.
They're going to
But
care
like
soon
I
enough.
said, desperation moves mountains.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really does.
Well, necessity drives invention. And when there's no necessity, why worry about anything, right? Everybody's just living their lives today.
Does
Nothing to worry
Annie know
about.
about withdrawing some troops out of Germany?
Trump's taken 5,000 troops out of Germany.
He's pulling out of
Huh.
Germany because he's kind of getting away from NATO now. So
Well, and he's
Oh.
teaching Germany that, you're not really our ally. So why are we giving you troops?
Yeah.
Why
are we protecting you when you don't care?
Yeah.
You just
Well, yeah, they
don't
have
care.
one base over there where people picket. They don't want us to be there.
Yeah. So, well, bring them out. Bring them home.
Bring
then.
them home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
they've
be
been
playing
doing that for a
games.
long time. So we'll take our troops, we'll
And
take
go
our
home.
music, we'll take our clothing lines, and we'll
Right.
take our movies back home with us. And you
That's
guys
right.
can live in the dark ages.
Mhm.
Well, they'll turn into Muslims, is what they're going
Oh
to do.
yeah, they're going to
soon.
turn into
Right.
a
And then Nigeria continues to happen. Islamic State jihadis murdered at least 29 Christians, torched a church. I mean, this is happening daily.
yeah.
This is what Muslim does. And then I've got a couple of memes to look at today to close. And then this is just so, it's like, if you want, I've had people ask me, I really want to find a good, godly spouse. The way you do that is you become a godly person.
Mhm.
If you want the perfect wife, a perfect godly wife, then be a godly man.
Mhm.
And
vice versa.
Exactly.
You want a good godly man, you need to love God.
Yeah. And that was, when we met, we're an internet success, right? We married 18 years ago, met on the internet, and we're still madly in love with each other, and one thing that she had on her profile was, for any man to be with me, he's got to love God more than me. And I said,
That was the only way
That's
to be
me.
successful at it because
yeah, and that was me. And yeah.
But you try telling her the truth, and she's like, nope, I got laundry to do.
I know. Early on,
I don't know.
stuck in the churchianity stuff. I know. But she really loves God, so that's why she's actually come to know the truth. And that's, praise God for that. So.
And he lets me spend my Social Security check the way I want.
It's her money. I don't care.
That's okay. It's not that much anymore.
Yeah. And then this is a memory. This is a meme that in our next 2 live streams from now, we're going to be talking about this very thing. That the harvest is the end of the world. The
That's
tares
fine.
are the children of the wicked one. The tares will be gathered and burned in the fire. And the children of the wicked one, go first. There's no secret rapture. There's one last day. It's the day Jesus appears in the clouds of heaven with power and glory, and every eye sees him. Yeah. We're going to be talking about that in a couple of live streams. And then this is it's my favorite, right? Jesus is not some hippy dippy peacenik, when he returns, he's going to war.
Mhm.
He's the King of Kings. He's the mighty God. And when he returns, he's going to be really angry.
He came as a lamb.
Yeah.
First time he came as a lamb. The second time he's coming as a
As
lion.
a lion.
The Lion of Judah.
And he's going to return in the clouds of heaven
Yep.
with power and glory and begin pouring out his wrath on the
Lion
world.
of Judah.
It is not going to be a happy coming for those that don't love the Lord.
No,
Yeah.
it ain't.
But everybody's going to see him. Everybody.
Their knees
will
are going to
see
be
him.
knocking.
Yeah.
Telling you.
And then if you say you're saved, but you live in willful sin, what are you saved from? And you know what? I know what most people are going to say. Well, I'm saved from hell.
No.
Well, no, if you're not repentant and you're living in willful sin, you are not saved from anything.
Right.
Period.
Well, I said, well, when I commented on that, because I know where you got it, I said, first of all, if you're living in willful sin, you aren't even saved at all.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. So that's just reality right there. Oh, that's it. So thanks all for hanging out with us. I hope
Good
it's
one.
what?
Good one.
Good one. Thank you. I hope it's been educational, entertaining, and we always love hanging out with all of you. And we love all of you.
Oh, yes.
Patting me on the shoulder. So let me say a prayer and we will say goodbye. Oh, thank you, Lord, for everything, for all you've done, all you're doing, and all you're about to do, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. So that would be Yusuf and Jody.
In chat, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you so
you guys
much.
in chat. We always love comments and questions. So thank you very much. We love all of you.
Yep.
Putting the banner and the QR code back.
Thank you so much for being here, everybody who was silent, but we know you're watching.
And
Huh? No. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. I don't know what that means. Follow us on Rumble.
Slam that notification button. I've been doing that for like 4 years.
Smash
We miss
that like
Cardi.
button.
We miss Cardi.
Smash that like button.
Yes, that's right. And then share this show literally with everybody that you know. Jody says, amen. Thank you. Love you. God. Love you too, Jody. Stay in touch this week. Turn on your notification bell so you do not miss any great uploads. And go to videos.prophecyandtruth.com. Videos.prophecyandtruth.com.
QR code on your screen will take you right there.
That's right.
Yeah. Love
Notification bell. Ding, ding, ding.
Love you all. Thanks for being here with us. All of you who watch later, and we know there's a lot of you.
Sissy.
We love all of you.
Tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Monday. Oh.
Monday.
Tell
all your people we said hello.
Yes. That you said hello.
Tell them I said hello.
Hello.
I'll send you that hello tomorrow morning. You can give it to them, all right? Okay. I love you, Sissy.
Thank you,
Love
Diane.
you, everybody.
Love you.
We will see you next
Love you.
Wednesday. Bye.
Love you all.